I get a lot of compliments on my earring holder that I have in my bathroom as wall art. But I also get a lot of questions on how I made it. And so in this video, I'm going to show you how to make your own decorative wall art earring holder from picture frames. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get to it. Hi, I'm Vanessa S of By Vanessa S, and welcome to my channel. And if you've been here before, welcome back to my channel. You know how this goes. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Ring the bell so you are notified of videos as they are released. And of course, subscribe. And don't forget to share, because sharing is caring. For this project, you will need picture frames. These that I have are 12 by 12. I got them from the home store. They were on sale. Actually, they were clearance, so I bought 2 of them. Fabric, the color of your choice. And any type of fabric will do, whether it's cotton or knit, whatever color, whatever type, something inexpensive. You'll need some utility cargo netting or neoprene. For this project, I'm going to use both. I'm going to show you how to use both. You'll need some batting as well as paint. You may need paint. Paint is optional. And some glue, a good adhesive glue. Okay, so a few things that I want to cover, just tips for you, things to think about when you are choosing the materials for your project. So this is sports utility mesh. And I like this because this is an earring holder, it already has the little circles that you can stick your earrings in. This is good. I like this. It's really good. This is one option. The other option is a neoprene like this. And I like this one also because if you look really close, you can see it has the little openings. These are like a little flower. As you can see, neoprene is a little thicker, okay? So you have to keep that in mind. But I do like it because it already has the little grooves in it. When selecting your background, you can have any fabric and any fabric color you want. It just depends on your preference, your choice. This is how you should determine which one you want and how it looks. So I take the utility sports mesh and I put it over just to see how do I like the way it looks. Okay, so this is on top of green. It's nice. It has a little pop. You would do the same thing with the neoprene. Now with the neoprene, it's going to be more of just an effect because the neoprene is so thick. So notice you can see behind it, but it's not as prominent, but still it's an effect. So with the neoprene, again, well, with either you can choose any color you want. You just have to decide what looks better. And so here's a lighter color, a pink. You can see both. The sports mesh netting. I really like the way that looks. And then you have the neoprene. And so as you can see, even though it's the neoprene is thicker, you can still see the effect of it. It's a lighter pink, you can kind of see it. And I do like it. And then I have one here, a piece of fabric here. This has polka dots. And to be honest, it really doesn't show the polka dots all that well. As you can see, this is what it would look like. So you can't really see the polka dots. So my suggestion is any type of fabric that is plain, Or, I mean, if it's a piece of fabric that you just have and you want to get rid of, by all means, but just as long as it's not distracting, the design is not distracting. Here's the neoprene over the polka dots. See, you don't see the polka dots at all. You can hardly see the polka dots at all. Okay, so when choosing your fabric, you want to choose a fabric that is a color that you like, and my suggestion is to have a plain fabric, not something with designs. And you can use mesh or the neoprene, and I'm going to show you in this video how to use both. The other thing you're going to have to make a choice on is the frame. Now, this is a frame I bought from Home Goods. It was on clearance, and this is why I need paint, because I don't like the color of the frame, which is fine because I'm just going to paint over it. But if you find a frame that you really like, and you like the frame, you like the color, you like if it has a decorative style to it or something, that's fine. You don't have to color it. But if you find a frame that you like, but it just doesn't have the quite color that you need, paint it. You can just paint it. And so that's what I'm going to do with these. The frames that I'm using, and what you'll need for this project, is the frame and the insides of the frame. What you will not need is the glass. So once I open the frame, I take the glass out, and I typically just donate it or send it to solid waste. But all frames come with some type of either a border, or they'll come with they'll come with a border, or they'll come with a cardboard piece, or in this case, I have some foam and a cardboard piece. This is what we're going to use for this project, so you don't need the glass at all. If you can find a frame that doesn't have all of the innards, that's good. If it doesn't have all the glass inside, if it's just the frame and a piece of cardboard or plywood or chipboard or something like that, that's good, because that's what you'll need. So for this one, I'm going to use this inner part here, the foam, and this cardboard piece. Also, because I don't like the color of it, I'm going to paint it. And so this is where you can be really creative and paint it whatever color you want to paint it. If you want to use a gold, a blue, a black, a purple, you can even do a mixed pouring of paint, which is pretty. I think I might do that with another project that I use a frame for. But for this one, I'm just going to paint it a solid color, or maybe one or two colors or something like that. I don't know yet, but that's all you'll need. The frame, and then the inside cardboard or foam, whatever it has inside, you can get rid of the glass. We've come to the fun part, at least the part that I think is fun. So as you can see, both of the frames are painted. I have a base, kind of like a space gray base for them, but I'm going to add more color to it. And the way that I'm going to do it is, for this one, I'm going to do color blocking. As you can see, I have my tape, and I'm going to color or paint, add color to the in between the tape, and that's color blocking. But for this one, I'm just going to do a freehand type paint using these sponge brushes, and I'll just dab. I have different sizes, a medium size, a small size, and I have a larger one, but I'm just going to do a dab of different colors. I'm just going to do it that way. I'm using acrylic paints, the kind that I get at Michael's. I use different kinds. I'm just going to use a lot of different colors and just make it very colorful, very pretty. something that's going to complement it and just kind of make it pop. So I'll just use, I have several colors here and I'll just go with whichever one works. All right, let's finish this project up. Now, when you buy your picture frame is going to have one of two things. It's either going to have a solid cardboard in the middle, or it's going to have, like this one has, a cardboard and the styrofoam. If you have either one is okay. Now, if you have the styrofoam and the cardboard, that's really good because you don't have to use batting, because you still need something soft in the middle. And so if you have just the plain cardboard, you'll need a piece of batting. But if you have the cardboard and the styrofoam, that's even better. Less work for you, or less to have to purchase. Now, I want the styrofoam to stay in place, and you can glue it. I just use a regular glue stick. You don't have to use anything special, but I just take a little bit of glue and put it around it so that the styrofoam will just stay in place. Because that's really all I want. I just want the styrofoam just to stay in place. I just don't want it to shift and move. And so just a little bit of glue. Now, if you find that you need something heavier or a different type of glue, I also use Barely There glue. You know, something that's just going to make it at the adhesive stick. That's really all you want. And sometimes you might just have to put more. If you're using like a glue stick like I'm using, you might just have to add more. But you really just don't need anything expensive, and you don't need a lot of anything, because the goal is just for it to stay in place while you're working on the rest of it. The next step is adding your fabric to your panel, to the cardboard panel. Cut your fabric, and this is your background fabric. This is the fabric that's going to be underneath the netting or the neoprene. But once you select your fabric, you want to cut it 2 times the size, the width of your panel. Okay, this is a little bit over, but you want to cut it 2 times the size. And what we are going to do is we're going to take the fabric. It doesn't have to be ironed or anything, because it's not going to show like that in the front. But you want to take the panel. If you have batting, you want the back side of the batting to be here. You would have your batting and then the back side of your batting. You want everything to be on the back side. If you have a panel like this, you want your styrofoam part to be on the back. I'm using a permanent fabric adhesive. And what you want to do is create a backing. Okay. And you're going to adhere it all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to take my glue. You're going to be very generous. And then I'm going to put my fabric onto it. You kind of like wrapping a Christmas present. You really just want to wrap it so that, and you want it to be tight. Okay, so you take your glue, and then you're going to take the other side and wrap it over, kind of like wrapping a Christmas present. Now, you don't need a lot of excess fabric. I actually have a lot of excess fabric, and that's okay. I'm just going to leave it that way for now. But you really don't need a lot of excess fabric. You just need enough for it to wrap over, fold over onto itself. Okay, so you want to take your corners. Like I said, it's like wrapping a Christmas present. You want to take your corners, wrap your corners in like that. Like I said, I really do have a lot more fabric than I need, but I wanted to be able to show you what I was talking about. So you're going to wrap your corners in like this, so they're nice and tight. Then you're going to add glue to your fabric. And I like to smooth it out so it doesn't get clumpy or anything. And then I just put some on the top. Okay. And you want to do the same side thing to the other side. The key to this is tightness. It's all about tightness. You want it to be tight because you want it to stay tight. Okay, get this in there. Notice that I'm making sure that there's a pocket, but it's tight, and that's what I want. I really want it to be tight. Okay, the tightness is going to be the key because you don't want to have any part of this project sagging in a couple of months. So you want to make sure that it's tight like that. And if you have to reinforce with more glue, that's okay. Go ahead and do that. All right. Okay. All right. So now this is what the front is going to look like. The last step is adding the netting or the neoprene, which is the front part. This is where the earrings actually hang from. So this is the last step, and that's adding, we're going to start with the neoprene to your core, your center part. Now, neoprene is thick, as I keep saying, so you don't want it to overlap. And so I'm going to cut the side pieces out. It's going to look like this, like a square piece. I'm going to cut the side pieces out on each side so that there's not an overlap. This way, it'll just sit individually. Okay, and they don't have to be neat. No one's going to see them but you. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a regular staple gun and put some staples in it to help it. So I'm adding the staples to not to the foam. I'm adding it to the side around the foam, which is the cardboard. Okay, so with the neoprene, so I have all of the sides stapled on the neoprene. Now I'm just going to cut it down some. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to do something a little bit different because it's netting and it needs a different level of tightening. And the tightening is going to be in the back. So unlike the neoprene, this one needs to be tightened a little more than just stapling. It needs to be tightened in the center because then it needs to have tension in the center. So what I'm going to do is all of the other processes, right? The stapling, the tightening, all of that is the same. And in this case, overlapping, you know, it can overlap. That's not a bad thing. But because it needs more tension because it's netting, I'm going to add some, I have this extra thick thread. It's just regular extra thick thread. And I'm going to thread it in the center to give it the tension that I'm looking for. And then after I do that, then I'll go back and reinforce it. So I'm just going to take regular thread, put it through the hole. And this is really simple to do. To me, it's just an easier step because it's going to help with keeping the netting stable like I want it. I'm just putting it together just to show you how you can create the tension. You can do it that way. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can do it, okay? But the key is creating the tension that you need up front. There's two things I want to address. One is safety. So when you put your staples in, if you have a thinner piece of cardboard on the other side, if you put your staples in and you find that it's coming out or sticking out of the cardboard, just take a hammer or a plier or something and push it down. It can actually help with keeping your netting stable. So just push it down. You don't want it sticking up because you don't want anyone to hurt themselves. So as you're checking, just make sure that it's not sticking up. And if it is, just push it down so that it's now a part of the design. Secondly, as I said, I put glue, you know, on here for the tension. Now with the netting, unlike the neoprene, with the netting, glue, the fabric glue works well. So if you want to use the fabric glue to help with the stabilization of the netting, be generous with the glue because you want the glue to kind of soak into, and you want to work it, okay? You want to work it, meaning that, remember, tightness is everything. So you want to have the fabric and the fabric glue to stabilize in a certain place. So if you want it to be tight, you have to work it that way so that it is tight, okay? And when it dries, it will dry tight. We're gonna let this dry. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for, right? So my boards are still a little bit wet from the glue, but that's okay. I'm still going to move forward. So we're gonna take the board, put the front side in. This is the one that's still a little wet. It's okay, I have a remedy for it. So we're gonna take this, put this inside. Now again, you can trim it down however you want to. Because I still have a little wet spot here, I'm just going to put this piece of paper in it, okay? And like I was saying, if you decide that it's a little bit too messy, or you don't want anyone to see what it looks like, put just a piece of, a light piece of felt on the back of it, glue it down, and it'll be like a finished backing. Okay, so take it, you stick it in the frame. Like I said, I have a little wet, so I have this paper going in there just for purposes of this video. Then I'm going to go ahead and tack it down with the tacks on the picture frame itself. Tack it down like that. Everything is inside nicely. It fits. And voila. That's the earring holder. This is the one with the netting. Now for the neoprene, I chose just to have the plain black neoprene with the green in the back because this picture frame has a lot of color. So it didn't need anything to really compete with it. So again, same thing. Seat your board in here. With the neoprene is a little thicker, so you might have to do a little bit more manipulating, but it won't hinder anything. Again, make sure everything is sitting in nicely and you can close it. That's the key, being able to close it. Attack that down with some. And if you find that you can't close it all the way, then trim some of the neoprene because that's what's causing it. So just trim some around the edges. So everything is closed neatly and voila. Earring holder. Okay, so that's it for me. This is how you make your own decorative, creative art and functional earring holders. They're beautiful.